What it do? Back here for another video. I decided to make a reaction to the UFC Saudi Arabia event. So I only predicted matches for 3 of the fights. So I think the best thing is that 2 out of 3 I got right, because honestly I was just really surprised. I guess we'll just talk about the main event first. I mean, man, it was something. It was something else, man. Israel Adesanya was doing really good. Using the leg kicks, chopping the calf. He was doing really well, selecting his shots, and honestly, it was a perfect round 1 for him. He was pretty much outclassing Imavov on the feet, but Imavov, he caught him with a nice straight shot. I think it was a cross, and because of that, he was able to get the KO, and it definitely was surprising to see that. It was very surprising to see Imavov like literally knock out Israel Adesanya, because it's frankly Pereira hasn't been able to do it, and pretty much no one has knocked out Adesanya in the UFC. So it just goes to show, like, yeah, Imavov's the real deal, man. And if I were to match make, I mean, for Adesanya, I think him contemplating retirement should be a thing now. I just don't see Adesanya really having much success. It's clear that the contenders are just getting better and better. Now Adesanya is just part of a different era, you know? He's part of that last era, and same thing with Kamaru Usman, with Volkanovski. I'm just not confident in seeing Adesanya really make another run at the title. And if he's not doing that, there's no use of him fighting anymore. Because I don't want him to keep fighting these dangerous contenders and losing and going through this Anderson Silva type of fall off. And I just don't want that to happen. Especially for someone like Adesanya, who is honestly arguably one of the best middleweights. And yeah, I mean, if we're to matchmake for Imavov, this is a hot take, and I know a lot of people are on that Khamzat hype train right now. Imavov deserves this next title shot now. I remember I said, either in my Twitter or in my YouTube, I said that if Imavov does something spectacular to Adesanya, if he gets an early finish against Adesanya, he was sure deserves to leapfrog Khamzat Chimaev for the title shot. And he did exactly that. He KO'd the best striker in the division. And I mean, yeah, I think it's just true that Imavov deserves the next title shot. If I were to match it, I mean, Imavov should fight the winner of Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. If Sean Strickland wins, seeing that rematch would be really good. Just because, Sean Strickland and Imavov, they fought on weird terms. Sean Strickland did on short notice. Imavov had to, fight Sean Strickland on short notice. And Sean Strickland did really well against Imavov, but it's clear Imavov has only gotten better ever since that fight. And I would love to see that rematch. If not, I'd love to see him go against a Dutchman, fellow European like Dricus du Plessis. I know he's African, but he's Dutch. But yeah, I mean, Imavov versus DDP, I think that's stylistically going to be a good fight. And for Khamzat, here's the thing. If Imavov lost, or if he got an unimpressive win against Adesanya, like maybe he just wrestled the whole way and got a decision, which was unlikely, then Khamzat for sure would have deserved that title shot. But Khamzat's only won against Robert Whittaker, and it would be unfair to pretty much Imavov, who defeated 4 middleweight ranked contenders, by the way. He TKO'd Cannonier. It was an arguable stoppage, but albeit he still TKO'd Cannonier, and he was still beating him. And apart from that, he has wins over Allen and Elidze. And then look at Khamzat. Khamzat barely fights, and he fought Robert Whittaker, that's it, within the last 1 year, more than a year. He's only fought Robert Whittaker. And let's be for real, it was a fluke submission. Robert Whittaker was injured before that fight. Khamzat probably wouldn't have submitted Whittaker with the rear naked choke if he didn't have that injury. So, I don't know. I think Khamzat is being very much overhyped. And I think Imavov, in my opinion, and this is for all the people the thing. I just don't like Dagestanis and stuff. I like Dagestanis. I just don't like undeserving contenders. I don't want people, these hype trains like Shara and Kamza and Umar, get rushed to title shots just because of their name. You know, I think Imavov has proven again and again he deserves that title shot. I doubt the UFC will give it to him just because Kamsa got a big name. He has a lot of hype behind him. And if they put him in that title fight, sure, it'll generate a lot more pay-per-views. But in terms of merit, Imavov deserves that title shot over Kamsa Chimaev. For Israel Adesanya, you know, I'm probably going to suspect he's going to be like number 3 ranked. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go against someone like Cal Barajo, you know? Cal has been meaning to fight a top 5 opponent. But if I were to give my recommendation, I want Adesanya to retire. I don't want him to fight anymore. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He got brutally finished by Dricus du Plessis and Imavov. And it's clear he's just not that same guy anymore. And I'm not saying that he's trash. He's really good. Skillfully, he's really good. But it's clear his age and his physicality is catching up. He's no longer that athletic young guy who's able to kind of get away with a lot of things, you know? A lot of people have figured out that blueprint against Adesanya to keep pressuring, using the straight shots, you know, keeping him in the corner against the cage, you know? That's what Strickland exposed that blueprint. Strickland did. And I guess Pereira did as well when he knocked out Adesanya. But those days are over, man. And it'd be nice to see him fight and maybe get a win, to end off on a win. But honestly, I just doubt he will. Because look at the middleweight division. There's just no easy fight for him. There isn't. I mean, there's a lot of good grapplers like Hernandez and Brendan Allen, and there's like people who are well-rounded as well, like Cal Barajo, you know? It's like, you look at those people and you think like Israel Adesanya is just out of his depth. And it's just like, it's like Stipe Miocic in the heavyweight division. It's like, what's the use of him being even being there, you know? And I mean, Adesanya skillfully is still one of the best, but it's clear his chin, his physicality, and also like his gameplay, his like style is just, people can beat him now. People have so much tape on him now, and they know what he's weak to, and he seems to not be improving those areas. So honestly, retire. Go help Kai Kara France. Go help Carlos Ulberg, you know? Those are the guys, you know, that are actually title worthy, so. Or they're going to get title shots in the near future, so. For sure, I think Adesanya should retire. If not, have him fight Kyle Barajo, you know? I mean, Kyle's been meaning to get a top 5 matchup. He destroyed Cannonier. So I think it would be a good one. If not, maybe Cal can go against Whitaker. Next, let's go to the co-main. I mean, I was saying this before, and a lot of people were doubting me, but MVP is different. A lot of people forget, man. They forget, man. People forget, man. Like, MVP is just a really talented striker. He showed it in this fight, the levels when it comes to striking. Obviously, Shara outstruck him, but let's be for real. A bunch of leg kicks weren't doing much, and it's clear Shara was just struggling to be able to figure out MVP style. I mean, MVP in the first 2 rounds was just, frankly, destroying Shara. And now Shara's, like, at this point where, yeah, Shara's still definitely a very talented fighter, but he needs to work on the grappling. Because it was clear that he didn't even try to get a takedown on Michael Venom Page. And it's like, you know, you could have just used that same blueprint that Ian Gary did. Ian Gary was a striker. He was getting beat up on the feet, so he grappled. That's MMA. You're supposed to use all the tools you have in your bank to win a fight. And Shara didn't do that, and it's because he couldn't. I mean, here's the thing. MVP's takedown defense isn't good, but you take Shara's wrestling isn't good either, so. I mean, I knew this was going to be mostly a stand-up battle. There was a bit more clinching than I expected, but it was mostly a stand-up battle, and it was clear that MVP was going to dominate. I did say MVP by decision, most likely 29-28. I think I predicted it pretty fairly. Like I said, Michael Venom Page was going to start out strong, and then maybe in round 3, Shara's going to get some good hits in and get a round 3 win. But yeah, Michael Venom Page They gave him 30-27, but 20. I scored at 29-28 because I think Shard did win round 3. But yeah, I predicted it very perfectly. And for the Pavlovich Rosenstruck fight, oh man, I just need to tell you something. Tom Aspinall took this guy's aggressiveness. And you just think, fair play to him. Fair play to him. I mean, I think him being aggressive against someone like Tom Aspinall and Volkov is just like, it was just clear Sergey was trying to fight smart and like fight more reserved, and there were so many moments he could have finished Rosenstruck, but he just didn't capitalize on it, and I think it's just because he was just too careful. He was being way too passive, trying to mix in some wrestling, and it's like a lot of people are comparing this to Ngannou versus Lewis, which honestly I think is very justified because it was a heavyweight fight that was supposed to end in a finish, but it went to a decision. So, yeah, for sure. I really don't have any comments for this fight. It was not that entertaining. And it's nice to see Pavlovich back in the win column, but I don't know. If I were to match make this, maybe Rosenstruck is just a gatekeeper. Let's defend against maybe like, I don't know. Why not Shamil Gazia versus Rosenstruck rematch? I'm just kidding. But I don't know. Rosenstruck can maybe go against some guy coming up from unranked. For Pavlovich, I'd give him Gon. Honestly, Gon doesn't deserve a title shot. Volkov got robbed, and honestly, I think Gon has a lot to prove with his grappling. So, I think matching him up with Pavlovich if he wants, and a UFC Paris main event, sure, could be a banger fight, and I think that would be a lot more entertaining than Rosenstruck. So, yeah. For the co-main, I forgot the match make. For MVP, he just said he's going down to welterweight, I meant. And, I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, he's kind of proven that he's a really good, talented striker, but his wrestling is still kind of suspect. So, honestly, I'd love for him to fight Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates would be a good fight. Or fight a Stephen Wonderboy. I think Wonderboy is slated to fight Colby Covington, but if not, hook it up, man. MVP versus Wonderboy. That is a striking masterclass. Granted, it could be boring because they're both counter strikers, but I don't know. It could be like Kevin Holland versus Wonderboy, but we'll see. For Shara, he's number 14, right? I mean, I think Michel Pereira is a guy below him. He's fighting Abus Magomedov, so. And for Shara, I don't know. Honestly, let's fight some unranked guy. Other than that, I mean, Magomedov versus Oliveira. I think this is fight of the night. And this totally justified. It was a good scrap. It was a very good fight. So, very good. It was good. Saeed was doing good in the first round, but he gassed. And round 2 and 3, Oliveira was dominating. So, yeah, it was a really good fight. And Ziem's back in the win. Ziem's winning again. He has the third longest winning streak in lightweight, which is crazy. Then, we got Shamil Gaziev first walk-off KO. That was awesome. That was awesome to see. So, yeah, and Terrence McKinney's back in the win column. Got a nice round 1 knockout against Hadzovic, and it was a good one. And I think a lot of people were underestimating Jasmine Jadis-Facius. And I think she has a lot of potential. She could definitely be a champion. I mean, she's definitely proven going against a former title challenger. So, yeah, she just dominated Silva. 3 rounds, easy 30-27. And also, unsuspecting knockout from Bogdangrad. He was getting bit into trouble by Lucas Alexander, but he came around and got a good knockout. And I guess there was a robbery. It's Abu Dhabi, of course it's gonna happen. But yeah, robbery. In my opinion, not that Pogues won that one, but they gave it to him, which was just stupid. Saudi Amato has to get fired. He has to get fired. It's just not even a joke. He has to be fired. But apart from that, I don't really see anything else that I could talk about. It's a short fight night, not really that eventful. But man, the main event and the co-main they stole the show for sure. They stole the show. Nurmagomedov versus Oliveira fight was very underrated. I think that was a fight of the night. It definitely deserved that as well. So yeah, see you next one.